1978, I came to Europe to compete for the first time in racing. And that makes me happy.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic!
I think we are watching the arrival of Ayrton Senna, a truly staggering talent. Ayrton Senna,
He'll be ranked among the all-time greats.
Not a bad feeling at all, is it?
Ayrton has a small problem. He thinks that he can't kill himself. And I think that's very dangerous.
We are competing to win. And if you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver.
Now Frost takes the lead. Senna is trying to go through on the inside.
I was treated like a criminal.
The best decision is my decision.
I can't stand this.
Walking away from the dark forces just doesn't become an option.
I was not going to give up.
So have any of your girlfriends ever asked you to go faster?
Yeah.
There was an energy, a force, a spirit. It was electrifying.
It was the last time either of them would be on the podium.
Ayrton ran out of luck.
There is a lot to go, a lot to learn, a lot to do. But I have plenty of time. Pure driving, real racing. That makes me happy.
Hi, I'm Asif Kapadia. I'm the director of the Senna film. I'm here to give you an exclusive preview of the movie. We're going to be showing you clips from the movie, and we're going to be showing you clips from interviews that we took while we were doing the research for the film. And we're going to start with Ayrton Senna's introduction to the Formula One world. It was the first race that really made his mark internationally. It's the 1984 Monaco Grand Prix, and he's driving a Toleman. And it's really the first meeting between Senna and Prost. PS Lotus car. And this is him doing what he does best, qualifying. And it's really a scene that most of the racing people that have seen the film, most of the people in Formula One, this is probably their favourite scene, because it really shows how he could control a car and how he could push it up to the limit and sometimes even over the limit, but keep it. Next up, we have a scene with Alain and Ayrton together. They're both driving a McLaren. It's 1988. We're just coming up to the climb. 88, he's driving around Monaco. He's still got a gear stick, and he's driving one-handed, and he's 50 seconds ahead of Prost. And this will be his first win. Next up, it's 1989. It's a Japanese Grand Prix. It's the penultimate race of the Formula One season. Prost is ahead on points. Senna has to win the race to keep his championship hopes alive. Now, the thing about this race is it's gone down in history because it's the one that really set off the breaking up of their relationship. And, well, as you'll see, there's a great piece of racing, and then it all kicks off. Favourite footage that we've got access to in our movie is of the drivers' briefings. This amazing access that we got from Bernie Ecclestone's archive, where we see what happened in the meetings about 30 minutes or an hour before the actual race. So here we are, 1990. It's the third year in a row where the race has come to Suzuka, and it's still up for grabs, and it's always been between Prost and Senna. The difference is this time, Senna is ahead on points, and Prost is going to have to win the race. And during the driver's briefing, they have a conversation about where the pole position has been set, and also about what had happened the previous year in terms of Senna. Okay, next up, one of our favourite characters in the movie is Professor Sid Watkins. He was Senna's best friend in Formula One, really. There were other drivers that he was close to, like Gerhard Berger, but Prof was one of the people that you would just not expect Ayrton Senna, the ultimate racing driver, to be close to. And this scene is really the setup to Sid Watkins, who's going to play a huge part in Senna's life story and fans, just to show them the character of Ayrton. And it's a scene which involves Ayrton and Jean-Marie Balest, who was the head of the FIA at the time, the head of the governing body. And this scene, what I love about it is it's pretty serious because it's all about safety for drivers, and it sums up Ayrton's character. He's always the guy that spoke up, fighting for other drivers and fighting for safety in Formula One. But what I love about it is it's also very funny. Hope you enjoy it. What makes this film different? and what made this film, what makes this film work for an audience, is that we have made it entirely with archive footage. So 100% of the footage that you see is from the time. It's the real footage. It's the real people talking about what they felt at the time about each other. The racing footage is unprecedented. No one's ever seen this footage before because no one's been into Bernie's archive before. So we have footage from Imola that nobody's ever seen. We have footage in car with Ayrton driving that is just going to blow your mind. The family gave us personal footage, home movies that Ayrton's brother Leonardo shot, which he's not even looked at for 10 years. And so we were able to put this all together to create a mosaic of the man. We had footage from Japan, from Italy, from France, all over. And somehow we managed to tell the story where I just felt we don't need anyone to tell us now what to think. We can just show you what actually happened. And I think that's what makes the film different, and that's why it works for an audience. And so it's pretty exciting, it's thrilling, it's very emotional, and it's never boring. Life with Senna was never boring. What I learned was the man away from the racing. When I saw the driver's briefings and I saw him standing up and arguing minutes before he's about to drive for the World Championship, but arguing for other drivers sometimes, not even for himself. He'd be always the guy speaking up. No one else would speak up. When I saw footage of him in the car, stopping a car in order to help someone on the track, you just realise that he's not doing this for the camera. He's not making this up. That's what he's really like, and that's what he was like the whole time. And we saw thousands of hours of material. So I think you get a good idea, what the real guy is like. And so it's the amazing balance of, he was a genius, and what we tried to show in the movie is that he is a genius driving a car, but a lot of people know that. What we wanted to show was the responsibility that he had to Brazil and what he meant to Brazil, but also what he did privately and what he was like privately. And I think the private side of the man is what I found more inspirational almost in the driving, because I already knew about that. We had an amazing experience making the Senna film because everyone we contacted wanted to talk about him. He's universally loved. There's something about Ayrton that's special, that's different. And so perversely, with most films, when I contact people, it's quite a challenge to get people to talk to you. Whereas here, people will contact us saying, how can we help? What can we do? What can we give you? So we had unbelievable access, starting with the fact that we met with Bernie Ecclestone and we were able to get access to the Formula One archive. We spoke to Ron Dennis. We had many, many hours talking to Ron. We had Alan Prost invited us to his home. We spoke to him many times. All of the key Formula One journalists from around the world, from Brazil, from France, from Italy, from Spain, we met people from all over the world. A few of them are featured in the movie and featured in some of the interviews that we show on the DVD. That's something to do with Senna. There's something about him that made people want to talk. To begin with, I think people were a bit wary because, they have these memories and they're very, very personal. And so they wanted to know, who the hell are you? Why should we talk to you? But once they realised that we were coming from the right place and we'd done our research and we'd spoken to everyone and we'd done it the right way and the family had given us the okay, most importantly, and Bernie had given us the okay, and then Ron got to know us, by then everybody, I think word spread and we just had unbelievable access. We made the Senna film entirely out of archive footage. So the whole movie is made of footage from the time, and using the exclusive access we had to Bernie's archive, the family's footage, all over the world, Globo, Fujifilm in Japan. But while we were making the film, we did a lot of research. We interviewed everyone. We met everyone just to make sure we got our story right. And what we're going to show you now are some exclusive clips from some of the interviews that we undertook while doing our research.
Well, I always liked the combination of the man and the machine. I think that's the real special quality that motor racing in general, and particularly Formula One, has. That, people say, oh, it's all about the car, isn't it? Well, actually it's not, but the car is, certainly 50%, probably a bit more. Even if it's 75 or 80%, the other 20%, which is represented by the driver, is absolutely crucial. That can make the difference. But the cars themselves, you either believe this or you don't, the cars themselves are beautiful things. They're a little less beautiful when they're painted like cigarette packets or whatever they paint them as now, perhaps. But there's a beauty to the sense of form-following function that the form of the cars expresses in some way the speed that they're going to go at when they start moving. And the details of the engineering, even if you're not technically literate are very beautiful. They're beautiful bits of sculpture, if you like. And that combination of those beautiful inanimate machines and the hero figures of the drivers, the sense of courage and romance and, you know, that sort of thing, is what attracted me, I think, when I was quite a small boy.
I think Formula One in the 80s was one of the most glorious times in Formula One. The cars were almost simple compared to what they are now. A steering wheel only turned the car. A gear lever shifted the gears. It was a time when drivers still made the difference, and all the engineering expertise and all the electronics still left a great deal for the driver to do.
You had Alain Prost, known as the Professor, a very smooth, very calculating driver. You had Nelson Piquet, who was Brazilian, very emotional, very clever, cunning driver. You had Nigel Mansell, who was the sort of British lion, who was very exciting to watch, very spectacular driver. And then you had Senna, the virtuoso. And to see these drivers competing with each other at more or less the same stage of their careers, overlapping slightly in a way, but really at their peak together, was phenomenal.
Na época, a equipe mais forte, as equipes mais fortes eram Williams e McLaren. A McLaren era o... Eu diria que a McLaren sempre foi um reflexo dos valores que o Ayrton praticava. Nesse ponto, o Ayrton e o Ron Dennis têm muito a ver. Os dois são perfeccionistas, os dois, vamos colocar no presente, têm aquela ideia de que nada pode dar errado se for bem planejado e bem executado. E, enfim, lutavam pelo mesmo ideal. O Ron também tem um background de batalhador, de alguém que lutou muito para chegar onde chegou e vencer na vida. Isso aproximava os dois muito. E na época, a trilogia melhor equipe, melhor piloto, melhor carro era liderada pelo Ron Dennis e era a McLaren.
The first time I really met him and tried to talk to him was in '94 when we had in Germany we had a Mercedes appearance, and we had a small race in Nürburgring with a new Mercedes 190, I think, and we had all not all, but some Formula One drivers plus old Formula One drivers. I remember Dennis Hulme, I remember a few other drivers, and we had this competition, and some people from Mercedes, they asked me if I could wait Ayrton at the airport. We were having 10 or 15 minutes time difference, and I had a car, so I was waiting for him to bring him at them again. That is the first time that we talked together, and we had a long drive, something like 2 or 3 hours. So we had time to talk. Did not talk very much, but he looked impressed. He looked impressed also. I was driving very fast on the motorway in Germany. He said to me, "Oh, you're driving fast," and you know, it was nice, and we were quite close. And because he did not know anybody, so he was always close to me during this at least the first day, and and then it's very funny because he looked very open, looked very nice, and we were starting the practice. So then we were fighting together for the pole position, and I saw him very competitive. So I made the pole, he was second. And then at the start, he went before the flag. And I said to myself, shit. Then I have to take care of this guy. That was '94. I did not know that we would have been teammate or whatever, but
teammate, companheiro de equipe em Fórmula 1 significa esse é o meu primeiro adversário. Esse é o cara de quem eu tenho que ganhar, porque é o único cara que tem o carro igualzinho ao meu. Eu posso ter a desculpa de eu corro na McLaren, a Ferrari está melhor. Eu corro na Ferrari, a McLaren está melhor. Mas eu não posso ter a desculpa de dizer a minha Ferrari é diferente da Ferrari do companheiro. Então, esse é o primeiro. No início de carreira, principalmente, o piloto entra numa equipe e o adversário dele é o companheiro. Se ele andar melhor que o companheiro e bem melhor, ele tem alguma chance no futuro. Se ele não conseguir isso, a carreira dele acaba ali.
Prost had already won 2 World Championships there. He'd been there for several seasons. He was extremely well established in the team. You know, he thought of himself and he thought he'd got the team to think of him as the number one driver, the team leader, the guy to whom most of their efforts were devoted. But then Senna joined, and Senna was not going to accept a number 2 status, that's for sure. He hadn't joined the team to be the supporting cast.
Antes do Senna chegar na McLaren, o Alain Prost era considerado o destruidor de companheiros de equipe. Eu me lembro do Joe Ramirez me dizer: Reginaldo, eu estou muito preocupado com o que vai acontecer com o Ayrton na McLaren. Eu sei do talento do Ayrton, mas o Alain Prost ele é guerreiro, ele cria um clima de guerra. E assim ele destrói adversários, como ele destruiu o Keke Rosberg. Destruiu, digamos assim, em termos técnicos, né? Ele destruiu na pista, mentalmente ele superou o adversário. E eu falei para o Joe Ramirez: Joe, com o Senna vai ser diferente, porque o talento é muito maior do que outros com quem o Prost dividiu uma equipe. E foi realmente o que aconteceu. O Alain Prost se assustou com tudo aquilo que o Prost tinha e tem de talento, de compreender uma corrida, de inteligência, de frieza. Ele se assustou quando ele começou a correr com o Ayrton. Ele não pensou que alguém pudesse ser tão bom piloto como era o Ayrton.
He had a target. That is obvious that when he arrived in Formula One, he had a target, and it was myself. When I arrived in Formula One, I was happy to be there. We had different top drivers. I never had any target, anybody, any driver that I want to be team or I want to. I had a huge respect for the old drivers. For Ayrton, it was different. He really wanted to beat me. He really wanted to be world champion, and beating me, and that was really a strength. And that was a plus in his approach, because when you are a racing driver, you want to have a motivation.
É curioso que em inglês o teammate é traduzido em português para companheiros de equipe. E eu por várias vezes usei o termo inimigos de equipe. Porque se você tem 2 pilotos, como foi o caso do Ayrton e do Prost, como companheiros de equipe, é inevitável que acontecesse uma disputa interna.
As a journalist and as someone who was in a TV production meeting every weekend talking about what's the story, we loved the rivalry. We loved it on the track, in the garage, and in the motorhome afterwards.
Ron was really behind Ayrton, but I understood that very quickly. It's a business. For him, it's a business. And I always understood, when I was with Nicky, he was really half and half, I would say, at the beginning, and then suddenly he went obviously behind me, because I was the new generation. And Ayrton was, when I was with him, the new generation.
You know, throughout their periods at McLaren, they always had equality. We would go at some points to quite extreme lengths. I mean, engine choice, for example, once we're determined which 2 engines were going to be used for the race, then it would be literally a sort of number out of a hat routine. We'd put the 2 engine numbers, in some sort of container, and then the drivers would alternate. This was probably this was trying to eliminate the view that Honda was selecting which engines went to whom. But it was, there was a degree of paranoia, because it didn't need much. Like a slightly better engine or slightly better setup that would determine who won the race and who became world champion.
What we want to do with this film is we want to give people an experience of what it was like to be Ayrton Senna. And we want to have the film told. Ayrton Senna is narrating this film. He's telling you his life story. It's not about other people's opinions of him. It's really seeing what he did and what he achieved, as you know, entirely using the real footage. And as much as possible, he tells you what he's thinking and what he feels and where he wants to go next with his life. What we hope is the film's going to work for the fans. It's going to work for people who think they know everything about Ayrton Senna. They're going to see footage they've never seen before. We're going to make a film which shows you his life away from the track. We're going to show you his family life, his personal life. We hope we're going to make people laugh. We're probably going to make people cry. His story is inspirational. It's emotional. And most importantly, we just hope we capture the essence of this very special guy, Ayrton Senna.